Remembering 9/11, 23 years after the terror attacks. The events today honoring the lives lost from Ground Zero to Long Island. It's Wednesday, September 11th. I'm Drew Scott. More on the annual 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony coming up. First, the aftermath of the fiery face-off between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Trump. Less than 2 months from Election Day, Harris and Trump debated last night in Philadelphia. The event showcased their very different visions for the country on the economy, abortion, immigration, and democracy.
His former chief of staff, a four-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the Republic, would never survive another Trump term.
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? Thank you.
Harris' campaign ended the debate by expressing openness to another meeting sometime next month. Harris picked up a huge endorsement shortly after the debate. Taylor Swift entered the political fray, endorsing Harris for president on social media. Joining us now is Newsday columnist Joy Brown. And Joy, did the debate move the needle in any direction?
Well, that remains to be seen, but we know it moved it enough for one cat lady by the name of Taylor Swift.
Now, we should point out the Newsday Siena College poll released last month had Trump leading here on the island. What do you think will the survey show after the debate today?
Well, again, we have to see, but, political experts for Long Island say, look, in a presidential year, everything is different, everything changes. The stakes this year are Long Island's been enjoying a red streak, but on presidential election years, Democrats come out. So we'll kind of see where we are with that.
Interesting. Now, in the debate, we saw Kamala Harris walking over into the podium area of Trump, shaking hands. We've seen something similar to that in past years, haven't we?
We've seen something similar with a totally different result. Kamala Harris walking over to shake Donald Trump's hand was seen as a power play. But if you remember, we had a U.S. Senate race, the first time Hillary Clinton was seeking a seat in New York for the United States Senate. She ran against a very popular local politician by the name of Rick Lazio. They had a debate. And at one point in that debate, Rick Lazio walked over to her lectern with a piece of paper. And it said that that was the night he lost the election because it was felt that he invaded her personal space.
And he's never held public office after that, right?
Right.
Any other viewpoints on last night's debate?
It was kind of interesting to see the two contrasting styles.
Oh, yeah.
You looked at Donald Trump, and he was the same way you see him at his rallies. He spoke with the passion and the fire and the fury that he normally does to an audience that is there to hear him. She, on the other hand, I keep thinking, she says she's a prosecutor, but I think if you've covered any trials, and you've covered a lot of them like I have, it was as if she was making a statement to a jury. She had a bunch of information, and she was able to marshal it. And you could tell that she was speaking about him, to the American people, in that persuasive way that you're trying to do a jury, because you understand that one juror can make a difference in a trial.
Fascinating evening of watching TV. Thanks very much, Joy. Appreciate it. And the Long Islanders have a lot to say about the debate, and Jill Wagner was at a watch party at Hofstra University where students weighed in.
No doubt how the crowd at Hofstra University felt about Tuesday night's debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump, where students gathered for a watch party.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets.
At points, students laughed when President Trump talked about issues like immigration and abortion.
First debate was it went terrible for Biden, but this debate, I think, is going terrible for Trump.
Issues that these students say are top of mind.
Definitely abortion, because as a woman, right, I'm very concerned about this whole thing about, making choices about women's body.
What are issues that are important to you?
Frankly, the Israel-Gaza war.
I would say definitely LGBTQ plus rights.
Hofstra presidential scholar Mina Bose telling us the students are paying close attention this year, and the energy around the election is high.
This is a historic debate. The 2024 presidential election is going to be one of the most consequential in American history. And to view this as a group is really important. It's the start of the school year. We have a number of students who will be voting for the first time. Many students, this is their first presidential election in which they'll be voting.
It's important for me that I can look up on the screen and see that the people at the highest parts of our society can look like me. I think that's really important, and I'm here for the history of it.
All of the students that I spoke with here at Hofstra say they are excited about this election and that they are registered and planning to vote. Hofstra is even an early voting location starting on October 26th. For NewsdayTV, I'm Jill Wagner at Hofstra University.
And you can read more about the debate and the reaction here on the island on Newsday.com. Just click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. This morning, family members of the thousands killed when America was attacked 23 years ago are gathering today in Lower Manhattan. The names of the nearly 3,000 people who died on September 11, 2001 will be read at the annual remembrance ceremony at Ground Zero. That includes 497 Long Islanders. 6 moments of silence will be covered and observed when the planes hit the towers, when they fell, when the planes crashed into the Pentagon, and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. President Biden, Vice President Harris, former President Donald Trump, and running mate J.D. Vance are all expected to be in attendance. And hundreds are gathering in Point Lookout this morning for the largest remembrance event on Long Island. The names of those killed in the attacks and those lost to 9/11 related illnesses will be read at the annual sunrise ceremony. The pain is still raw for many of us who lost loved ones that day. One Long Islander is keeping the memory of his father alive, and Virginia Huey has the story of a window washer killed on 9/11.
For nearly 30 years, the World Trade Center dominated the skyline of Lower Manhattan as the quintessential symbol of America's economic power and prosperity. Rocco Camage was a part of that iconic landscape, working high above the clouds as a window washer at the Twin Towers.
Dad enjoyed every minute of it. He really did. He said it was just me in the sky.
Rocco's son Vincent remembers his father's fearlessness and can-do spirit.
My dad had a great energy to him. You know, when he's on top, he felt like he was part of the building. He made it shine.
Born in Montenegro, Rocco immigrated to the U.S. with his wife Katrina in 1969 in pursuit of the American dream. They settled in Manhasset, where they raised Vincent and daughters Angelina and Teresa. Rocco began washing windows at the World Trade Center the year it opened in 1973.
My dad was really actually scared the first time he went out there. But he said the second day, no problem. He was going to do it no matter what to support his family.
Most of the World Trade Center's nearly 44,000 windows were cleaned by machine, but the windows on the 107th floor were a different story. Because they were made of wider panes of glass to provide panoramic views from the observation deck, they needed to be washed by hand, and it was Rocco's job to keep them shining. Suspended 1,300 feet in the air in a maintenance basket, Rocco enjoyed extraordinary views from the outside looking in.
Dad interacted with the people that were going on the windows of the world, and you'd see him waving at people that were inside, and he always said that they would, put their finger and go, "You're crazy for being outside."
Rocco worked at the Twin Towers almost every day throughout their entire lifetime. On September 11th, Rocco was on the roof of the South Tower when it was struck by United Airlines Flight 175. As fire and chaos broke out below him, Rocco alerted Port Authority operations via walkie-talkie.
I said, don't send anybody up here, big smoke. He didn't want to have anyone else get hurt up there. So he said, just don't send anyone up here.
He called his wife and told her not to panic. Rocco was killed when Tower 2 collapsed. He was 60.
My father was a great family man, and he was a great dad. And even to this day, I don't know if I 100% accept it. Yeah, I have to, but I don't 100%. The feeling will never go away. 23 years later, and it's still right here.
In the 23 years since his father's death, Vincent says he's eased his heartache by sharing stories about Rocco, especially with the grandchildren he never met.
I say, Grandpa's up in the sky in heaven, and he's watching over you.
The spirit of a daring and dedicated man lives on in the hearts of his family and in a place that never forgets.
That we miss him. That we really miss him. And thankful for the time we had with Dad, but wish for our own selfish reasons we had more time.
For NewsdayTV, I'm Virginia Huey.
And we invite you to watch our tribute remembering 9/11, streaming now on Newsday.com. We're honoring the lives lost and looking at the ongoing battle to protect the health of first responders and survivors. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is defending his handling of the COVID pandemic. Cuomo was grilled by a congressional committee yesterday over his administration's pandemic-era directive that relegated thousands of recovering COVID-19 patients to be admitted to nursing homes. Several lawmakers accused the Democrat of staging a cover-up to hide his mistakes that endangered nursing home residents. Cuomo blamed the Trump administration.
I often vehemently disagreed with President Trump because from day one, he willfully deceived the American people, denying COVID's very real threat, telling us that it was like the flu, it would go away by Easter, it was a Democratic hoax.
The nursing home policy was in place for 2 months. The Justice Department found no wrongdoing. A huge night for music. For the first time ever, the MTV VMAs will be held here on the island. Tonight's event is at UBS Arena in Elmont. Taylor Swift leads the pack with 12 nominations. Megan Thee Stallion is hosting, and there will be performances from stars including Eminem and Long Island's own LL Cool J. Our Elisa DiStefano will have updates from the red carpet later this evening. All right, checking out your hyper-local Wednesday weather. Another sunny and dry day. You're going to enjoy it. Here's a look outside at Atlantic Avenue Beach in Amagansett. It may be a touch cooler out there than yesterday, but still beautiful. Here's your day planner. Sunny today with highs around 74 degrees. Tomorrow, highs around 78. Looking at your 7-day forecast, it's going to be nice. No rain.
Long Island weather is brought to you by PTRC.
I'm Drew Scott. Thank you for watching.